Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I think I'm a boomer. I think I'm a zoomer. I think I'm a doomer. Damn, I'm like a zoomer. Okay. EWGWHITE coming with the heat. I stay fooling with my bop, my tunes will make your speakers hot. Dance floor hops.
Welcome to the Grillcast, the only podcast in the world dedicated to radical centrism. I am your host, Orion. Joining me as always is Micah. What's good, buddy? Been a while.
Good to be back, man.
Good to be back in the saddle. And we have a very special guest. Some of our longtime viewers may remember him. We brought him back. We got Mason in the house. What's up, big guy?
What's up? I'm glad to be back. It's been a long hiatus, but I'm here.
And it's been a couple weeks for us. And, you know, I've had a few people reach out during this time asking me, you know, where's the new episode? I want to listen to radical centrist content. Your podcast is just so good. And it's like, guys, like, come on. I'm a busy guy. You're putting a lot of pressure on me. I'm getting anxiety. I'm shaking. I'm sweating. All of this pressure to put out a regular show and to appease the fans.
Do you think we enjoy doing this? Do you understand?
Do you think I enjoy... Do you understand what this does to me mentally? I don't go on the internet other than to do this show. I wade through these sewers on the internet to bring you this content, and I take a mental health relaxation week, and I have people asking me for more content and enjoying the show. Like, you fucking get real, guys. Get real about what this is.
There's people fighting in Ukraine, and then there's people fighting to produce good content on the internet.
Equally as valid.
Yeah.
Equally as valid. Well, anyway, sorry about that, guys. There'll definitely be
Just had to cope a
more
little
regular content after this next couple months. I will be going back to Alaska. This is my last episode for a couple months because I have to go touch some Alaskan grass. And yeah, I'll be back in August. So seriously though, thank you for the kind words of support in these trying times, my grillas. I also just want to say to Elon Musk, I'm sorry about all those actionable death threats that I've sent to you personally. You can take me off the list. Like, I'm not gonna hurt you anymore. You delivered the Starlink. It took a long time. But now that you've delivered the Starlink to me and I have reliable internet in my rural community, I've gone from hating you to seeing you as a demigod. I'll follow you on Twitter. I'll retweet you and say like, oh yeah, this guy's the best. He's gonna save the world. We're going to Mars. I love you, Elon. I'm sorry for all those actionable death threats.
I think we all kind of understood that those actionable death threats, they were all jokes to begin with. So I'm sure it's all
definitely they were jokes. Definitely, yeah.
You try not having internet for like 7 months, just sitting there, and it's all Elon Musk's fault because he hasn't delivered the product yet. And like, you know, they're jokes, but they've got an edge to those jokes. You know what I mean? Because you are a little angry, but then it gets here. You have the good internet, and you're saved. It's all different.
He's a savior of Western society. I don't care what I've said about him in the past, you know, about wanting him to die and, like, making all of those plans. This is the guy that's going to take us to the moon and to Mars and to Uranus. I'm not gay.
Speaking of not being gay, before we really get into the shit here, I just wanted to drop a quick message for our viewers. You know, with it being June, I wanted to take a moment to just recognize the sacrifices made by the gay community and the African American community. The gays for having to endure constant attacks from chuds and homophobes and what have you, and Black people for having to share a commemorative holiday during Pride Month. So even though we are not gay or Black, our thoughts are with you all during this time.
And I want to also give a shout out to the real LGBT that we should be celebrating this month. The landlords, gamers, billionaires, and truckers movement. These hardworking people have been neglected for too long, and I think what they do is a little more important than just having a bunch of butt sex. So maybe we should be celebrating them. You know, anyone? I guess not. So let's get in the meat and potatoes of this episode, right? Let's talk about school shooting discourse. The newest wave of people just wanting to ban guns because shootings.
I'm sorry, but between the last episode and now, we've had like three more shootings. Guys, what did we tell you? We were not joking around when we told you to stop. We will stop the car. We will turn around. We will not go to McDonald's. You need to cut it out.
I'm wagging my finger at you shooters, you know? Like, honestly, you people need to really, like, think about what you're doing and how it affects other people. Just think for a second. And, you know, a lot of
Think
people
about
have
it.
they have a lot of different solutions to this mass shooting problem that's happening. One of them, because rightoids, they'll never say like, "Oh, it's the gun's fault," because let's be honest here, guns have everything to do with shootings. You cannot have a shooting without a gun, and rightoids will just be here like, "Oh, no, guns have nothing to do with it. He's a guns didn't do nothing. Guns didn't do nothing." I just don't get it. Like, you know, they say like, "Oh, you could stab people, you could run them over," but that's not what's happening. We're shooting people.
Well, nobody even has to mention taking guns away before the homosexuals start like screeching. I mean, like, because to me, like, a guy shouldn't be able to walk out of the hospital like you saw here with one of these last shootings, pick up his mass murder weapon, and go straight back in there before the FBI has a chance to monitor him and not do anything about it. I mean, that's ridiculous to me.
We need to make sure that there's a waiting period so that the FBI has plenty of time to monitor and do nothing about it, you know? We need to give them the time to do that.
The whole problem here that I'm seeing is like rightoids just can't accept that people. Sometimes you have to accept that people are going to die so that you can go out and have fun once a week and shoot your gun at a metal target. And they won't admit that that's what it is, and that's okay. There's like 300 million people. I'm willing to say it. Like, I'm willing to accept horrific mass casualty events so that I can have fun shooting
Don't
my
do it.
gun at
Don't you
propane
do it.
tanks. Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. But like, would it limit these mass casualty like events? Probably. Am I going to give up my fun shooting plinking time? No, I'm not going to.
Well, you know, the reason that these rightoids do that, why they'll just deny, and it's not a bad strategy, because if you budge even an inch and admit that like your hobby or something that you enjoy can have even the tiniest amount of risk, then wing cells will foam at the mouth and be like, "We have to ban it. We have to ban it." Like, you know, they do that with like drunk driving, for example. If you admit even that, you know, people would say, "Yeah, drunk driving, I guess it's a little more risky, but it's also a lot of fun, so I want to keep doing it." And the wing cells came down hard on it, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, because we've admitted that there was risk. It's the same with like HRT and like dudes and women's sports. Like, you admit that like, okay, maybe it's a little unfair, and then there's all these foaming at the mouth rightoids like, "We have to ban it, even though it's funny."
Well, the problem here is that people are unwilling. They have this like religious conviction we put into our society that human lives have unlimited value. And no society in the past, like China, doesn't struggle with this. There is a value to human life, and you can't just say, "Oh, lives are unlimitedly valuable." They're not. That's not how this works. They have to have like a life is worth like how much is worth like $1 million. You could talk
10,000.
to the U.S. military. They'll have calculations for this because it's not how the real world works, but it seems to be how the public conscience works right now, and that's not right.
I agree. I also agree with you, Mason, about you know, we kind of have to live with that, you know, the fact that people are going to have to die, you know, as a sacrifice so that we can get our own personal enjoyment out of firearms. But at the same time, I'm okay with, you know, vetting people for gun ownership. Like, I don't have a problem, you know, because I have the mental fortitude and lack of criminal history, you know, to be able to enjoy that activity. And basically what these people are saying is I don't. You know, I'm not confident that someone's going to look into my head and say, this is someone who should be allowed to have guns.
So this is an anecdote about this. And so I used to be like 100% like, don't touch my guns. But there was one time where I went into Walmart to buy some ammo. And there was a guy in front of me inquiring about his handgun purchase that he was picking up. And this person was a meth head. They were very visibly high on meth. They were a meth head. I assume they just had a clean record, but they were a meth head. And so I do wonder about like common sense restrictions. Like, shouldn't we have someone selling guns that can look at this person and say, "No, you're a literal meth head. I'm not going to sell you a gun. You're fucking tweaking and shaking all over my counter. What the fuck?" You know, that's what I think of when it comes to common sense gun laws, but I don't know how you make it work.
Yeah, we should just be able to look at people and say, like, you're clearly not. You're probably a wing cuck, like, you're
Yeah.
high on meth. I think we just need to have better vetting processes in general. But there's this idea, right, that mental health. Mental health. We just need to like get these people more mental health and then it'll be okay. This is like the rightoid deflection. Step right up here. We have mental health for sale. What ails you, sir? Oh, you have depression because you'll never be able to afford a home of your own. Oh, we'll just get you some mental health. Step right up. What ails you, sir? Oh, you have anxiety because your girlfriend cheated on you. Oh, okay. We'll just sell you some more
It's-
mental. There is no mental health. People are falling apart,
I want it.
dude. You can't just sell mental health.
It's the right wing's version of I can fix him.
I want it noted that
It really is.
like 90% of shooters are prescribed antidepressants. They got the mental health and it didn't help.
And, we have to talk about, too, why these mass murders happen now. And there's this idea that it's some mental health thing. But it's because, like, okay, look. In the past, we had serial killers that were a lot more abundant, right? Like, name one serial killer from the 2000s or 2010s. Top of your head. Can you do it? No, you can't, because the surveillance state has prevented people from being serial killers. How are you going to abduct a girl at the park if she has a cell phone on her that tracks her every movement? Even if you throw the cell phone out of the car, dude, it'll be like, oh, okay, so it was at this time, and it was at this place, and now we're going to look at the surveillance cameras, and now you're caught. Like, you can't be a serial killer anymore.
Good luck getting to a good burying spot without GPS. Like, it's not feasible.
Yeah, no one knows how to use a map anymore. You have to use your own phone to Google Maps it. They're gonna find the body. Like, serial killing is just not on the plate anymore. And people have these big problems with mass murderers, but like with serial killers, like, how does our society look at that?
Holy
because
shit,
it's like
dude.
antiquated, it's romanticized. Serial killers are romanticized by white women, right? Every white woman wants to be killed by some Chad who and be like, oh, he just wants to fuck me so bad that he's gonna kill me. That's how much he wants me. That's how desired I am. That's why they all listen to these podcasts and shows about serial killers all the time. Versus the incel mass shooter. The mass shooter is seen as like an incel, somebody of low status who's just lashing out. There's nothing sexy about that to the white woman.
So there actually have
Temper
been women
tantrum.
that have written love letters to the Columbine shooters, and I'm wondering if that romanticism just comes with time. Like in 20 years, will white women be watching true crime podcasts on like VR about these school shooters and, like salivating over them? It could happen.
I mean, desirable traits in relationships do tend to change over time too, based on needs and things. But I'm a little bit stuck on this point you've made because it kind of just blew my mind that you could probably put a graph up, like correlating like the rise in mass shootings, like per year versus like the number of serial killers decreasing.
I actually have a thought on this. I kind of think of mass shootings as a meme, okay? Like serial killing was basically a proto meme from the 70s. Like, like every time you put on the news, like some serial killer, there's some guy who's like, oh, dude, I want to be a serial killer. So every time I feel like there's one of these mass shootings and it goes all over the news, some guy's like, I want to be a mass shooter. Like, really, it's just this meme that is self-propagating through the news cycle.
Yeah, no, that totally checks out. I mean, it's one of those things, you have copycats. It's like how you had copycat serial killers, like a guy. And that's why they kind of seem to happen in clusters, or at least they're reported as such, is because it's like, oh, that guy did it, it's go time. I also want to say that, like, as far as like trying to ban guns because all these kids are dying, like they are just a clump of cells at the end of the day. Like, are you gonna restrict hundreds of millions of Americans' rights to own weaponry of any type, fully semi-automatic weaponry, just because of some clumps of cells? I don't think so.
Yeah,
that
there's
seem
that,
right to me.
and the kids didn't ask for that. The kids didn't ask for us to ban the guns.
No.
After before they were killed, and I doubt they would have done it after they were killed. They wouldn't have asked that.
I mean, like, who are the kids that are asking for that, right? Those cringe kids from, like, that Florida high school, like David Hogg. That's the guy that we want to keep chugging along. That's who we want to ban guns for? I don't think so.
Oh God, I wish I could pull up that tweet from David Hogg. He made a literal tweet. I kind of think this was just like rightoid bait, kind of like the World Economic Forum. But he's like, that moment when you realize that your dad, who worked for the FBI, must have done some crazy stuff that he never talks about. That's pretty close to verbatim, and this is a literal tweet that David Hogg put out. Make of that what you will.
You know, you mentioned the World Economic Forum. I should have pulled some clips from it, but that's a really good point you have about it being rightoid bait. I think it's literally just the World Economic Forum, to like switch subjects for a second, is literally just a bunch of rich people that are like, let's piss off some dumb rednecks and just like go up and talk about like they have the most cartoonishly evil people in the world up there, like Klaus Schwab just being up there like, we will put the microchip in the children and it will turn them trans, and we will own them forever and they will own nothing.
You will own
It's
nothing.
cartoonish. It can't be real.
You will own
That
nothing
guy
and
has
be
to
happy.
be a hologram.
And they literally put out an article about eating bugs, I'm pretty sure. And they're like, everyone will live in 10 by 10 spaces stacked a mile high. They'll work in our factories. We are the elite. We are the leaders.
I saw one where they're like talking about this fucking pill that like has a computer chip in it, and you take it and it lets the doctors know that you took your medication on time. And he's like, imagine the compliance. It's like that's how you're framing it. Imagine the compliance. It
Well, you
can't
see,
be real. These
the
people
difference
can't
between-
be real.
The difference between us and the conservatives is that, you know, we will embrace these ideas for people who aren't us, whereas they won't embrace these ideas at all, you know.
No. This is a thing I have against a lot of people. Like in circles I move in, and people don't understand this. I will get the fucking brain chip as soon as it is available and it works well. Like, can you imagine? Like, I look at things, I just like understand them innately through my like
You can
brain
read
that's
people's power
crafted
levels.
through the internet. I could just do like complex math just by thinking. Like, you think you won't get the brain chip until I just take your
You
job?
mean how we used to do complex math?
Well,
I
look,
take
dude.
your job. You try and compete with me and you don't have the brain chip. Good fucking luck. I will be on so many
Yeah.
levels above you. Same with like, I'm gonna have like strength implants. I'm gonna have like metal bones with like I'm basically gonna be a cyborg as soon as I can. They'll be based.
But as a radical centrist, I already have all of those abilities innately, like, you know,
Yeah, without the
genetically encoded. The
augmentations,
the ability to make thousands of calculations a second, the ability to parse through millions of points of data. You know, this is something that's inherent to the radical centrist.
The ability to part water and
The It sounds like what you're saying is the brain chip will essentially be like wing-cut conversion therapy that'll make everybody as smart as me.
Can you imagine the technologically advanced futurism wingcuck? The wingcuck that like is their brain literally wired to Twitter? Like, I don't know. And not just that either. Can you imagine the political fights when everyone is like roided out cybernetic? Like, it'll literally be like a Marvel movie where everyone's like fucking, you
It's
know.
when you open your mouth, it's literally just a text notification sound.
This is my problem with you fucking futurists. Like, your whole description of this. Can you imagine the future? It's gonna be like a Marvel movie, dude. That's what all you fucking futurists do. And what it's really gonna be is all of you enslaved in fucking cubes. The World Economic Forum isn't lying. You think they're gonna give you superpowers? They're not gonna give you that. They're gonna give you powers that, like, directly help them.
They'll probably give you superpowers. Like, they'll give you super like strength so you can like mine the like asteroid faster. They'll just have like a kill switch like that just automatically activates if you like stand up against them. There's like kill
Orion,
switch.
even if all that of what you're saying is true, I don't want to sound like a QAnon conspiracy tard, so I'm just gonna ignore it.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I think that's the best way to go about things, is to just look into the future, see giant red flags, and be like, I'm just gonna ignore that. I'm sure it'll be fine. That's a radical centrist way. It'll be good.
It probably will.
Some of the people that are taking us towards our future that we're setting up to is the journalists, the journaloid class, people who are giving us the information we need to make informed decisions. And one of these institutions, the Washington Post, is having some infighting problems that I'd like to cover, because I think a lot of people, going over it and parsing through the data, I think they're coming at it with the wrong conclusion. It's kind of a smooth brained approach. So I want to go through it all and leave you all with my impression of the situation. The core of this issue with the Washington Post, it starts off here with journalist David Weigel. I don't know how to pronounce that. Get a better
Wiggle.
name.
Let's just call him Wiggle.
Yeah, Wiggle.
Yeah, I like Wiggle. David Wiggle retweets one of the most horrible, senseless, tasteless jokes I've ever heard. We do some edgy comedy here, right? We do some edgy comedy sometimes. But this is just a bridge too far for me. He retweets somebody else saying, "Every girl is bi. You just have to figure out if it's polar or sexual." Tasteless, crass,
Wow.
just
Jesus
disgusting.
What I hate about that joke is that it implies they're exclusive categories.
Yeah.
I think every woman's
Thereby being
probably
exclusive.
both, huh?
Yeah. It should be every woman is bipolar and bisexual.
So, Felicia, another journalist at Washington Post, his
Yeah.
colleague Felicia Somnes notices this, and, she starts the battle. She starts the war here, saying, "Fantastic to work at a news outlet where retweets like this are allowed."
Imagine.
I mean, for her to have to come into work and experience this verbal violence from a fellow journaloid, that just seems like a hostile work environment, Like, how could you, in good faith, say that this is a constructive work environment for... How is she supposed to put out top 10 BuzzFeed articles about, I don't know, like, the cutest dogs or whatever she talks about, with this lingering over her head? It's disgusting.
I mean, these people are subject to war, violence on the streets, rioting, assaults, just trying to do their jobs every day. And they aren't even safe from trauma in their own office spaces now.
And it's disgusting.
And it's stupid. I don't understand how you could possibly be like I would not retweet that on one of my public accounts. Granted, I don't actually have any like public accounts linked to my name because I'm not stupid and I do everything on the internet and honestly. But like I would not do that.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm not a journalist that exists in a space that is, you know what I mean? Like, it seems pretty obvious you're going to get in trouble for that from my perspective.
Right. And so she puts that out, and, there's thousands of Twitter users commenting, saying, "I can't believe this. I can't believe this is happening. This is disgusting how you feel about women. This really shows your internal misogyny." And so Dave Wiggle here, he says, "I just removed a retweet of an offensive joke. I apologize and did not mean to cause any harm."
This is where he made his mistake. This is his fatal error, is backing down on this. He should have put his foot forward, okay? He should have stuck to his guns. And he should have said, "You know what? You're acting just like my ex-girlfriend right now."
You should have said, "I can see that you're the bipolar."
Yeah, or something
I got
like
you
that.
clocked, No, but he apologizes. And, the thing about the online users, when, particularly Washington Post enthusiasts, is that they're a forgiving class of people. They just have a couple follow-up questions because they want to make sure that this is a legitimate apology. Some of the ones that popped up first were, "I'm genuinely curious. What did you find funny about it? And what made you think it was a good idea to retweet it?" Because there was a thought process involved. And it's the fact that you didn't immediately see the harm that is concerning for someone with your platform. And that's the thing, is that this guy, he wields such an immense amount of power, writing like top 10 lists about cutest dogs for Washington Post or whatever he does. He needs to understand what it is he's doing and how it affects other people.
Oh God, that takes me into a total other segue. I got into an argument with an actual author of his big series because he was saying that another author who got in trouble for sleeping with fans was committing rape because he has a power differential over them. I really don't like journalists and authors thinking they have some kind of power over people.
then
Yeah, that-
half
that's-
of all sexual encounters are rape. What the fuck are you talking about?
Do you want to know something nuts that happened to me that was like that? I worked at a very liberal, very, very liberal place a few years ago, and I worked in a kitchen. It was a co-op, and the assistant manager of the kitchen was like a 21-year-old girl, and she ended up banging a couple of the guys that worked there. We have a big work meeting about it, and one of the guys that I worked with, he was like, what she did was assault because she had a position of power over them. And it's like, bro, she's an assistant manager for a kitchen. What power? Like, you can't be a dishwasher anymore. You got to get out of here because you won't fuck me. Like, what?
I'm gonna make you. You have to
A
clean the
21-year-old
bathroom.
girl? I don't know. It kind of came across to me that he was just salty that he didn't get to dip it in, but who knows? I think that that's ultimately where that comes from. But to get back to what we're talking about, my favorite response to this is what sucks is that it reveals your thinking about women as well as the biases you have about being mentally ill and queer. And we have to be out here knowing that people like you get to shape our news narratives. Someone replies, isn't he a big Hillary basher? And she says, yes. And behind every Hillary basher is some generally horrible views about women in general. And what's funny to me about that is her being like, oh, like, people like you get to shape our news narratives. And she doesn't care when, like, literal lizard, demon, pedophile, like, blood drinking fucking Moloch worshippers are shaping news narratives. But this guy retweets a joke and she's like, no, I can't have you shaping this. This isn't working for me.
To some degree, don't you guys kind of find these types of reactions to be a bit discriminatory also? Because
How
can any of
so?
us really help what we find funny? Like, just impulsively?
That's true.
I've often said that about people who get angry with me for using slurs. Like, I can't help that it's hilarious.
I don't get upset with people for what they find funny. Like, even if I don't find it funny, like I'm not gonna shit on you for thinking something's funny.
It's
I mean, I'll
innate.
shit on you, but
People are born thinking what they think is funny. You can't change. Implying that people's sense of humor is changeable. It's
it's not. It really
What-
isn't.
what-
You just have to go into denial. You have to go into the closet about it, right? That's what these people want, is for you to go in the closet about hating women. And I never will. You'll never put me in the closet. I'll always hate women. You can't take that away from
Especially
me.
like it's one thing to like presume that a person is hateful based on like the ideology they subscribe to, but to say that they're hateful because of something that they laugh at is like completely retarded.
I'm
also
sorry, but I don't think that there's a difference between like ideology and humor. Like, how many people do you know that like got into being an alt-rightoid because they saw funny Pepe memes? Like, it is a pipeline.
I mean,
it absolutely is.
It definitely can affect it.
our social groups are formed off of humor.
But I laugh at memes from all sides of the
Oh
spectrum.
yeah, me too.
I also want to note that these are Washington Post employees, and I feel like you just have to make mention that these are Jeff Bezos' slaves. I don't know how exactly that ties in here, but it's just an interesting bit of context that these are Jeff Bezos' little writer monkey slaves.
I don't know.
They
I don't know
belong
how
to
that's-
Jeff. That is a fact. That's true. Mason did tell us a correct fact. So, moving on a little bit. So it turns out, him apologizing, it didn't really work for him. He ended up being suspended for a month from his job, no pay, and they already get paid like $15 an hour. This dude's gonna be homeless. Like, he's fucked. He's gonna be podless. You can't even afford his pod anymore. Like, he's done, dude. And so you might see everything that I presented to you today and say, cancel culture's gone too far. A tale as old as time. This is just, some feminazis, rabid feminazis taking offense and taking jokes out of context or getting mad over jokes, but it has nothing to do with that, and it has everything to do with it being a weapon for these people to use. Because you see, Dave's reporting, it often attacked the mainstream Democratic Party, but from the left. His Bernie Sanders tweets out some or retweets something from Dave Wiggle here about some of the PAC cash, the super PAC money, where it's going to knock out these left-wing Democrats, right? So what this really is, it has nothing to do with women, it has nothing to do with being offended, it has everything to do with Felicia Sonmez here being a neoliberal party shill. And this is something we support here on the Grillcast. She's weaponizing stupid women online to attack this guy and take him down and fuck with him, hopefully get him fired so that he can't attack Hillary, so he can't attack the mainstream Dems that are being elected. This woman is sweeping up wing cuckery, and she's using retarded people on Twitter to do that. Wielding retards as a weapon against your opponents is radical centrism. It is based.
The question for the Democratic Party at this point is, will they ever be free of these Bernie bros? Like, I don't think Bernie can run again, but that is not for sure. Okay. I actually don't think he's any older than Biden. He just seems like he is. But
dude, he looks like a crypt keeper. Like, what the fuck?
He looks like the person in the crypt.
He's barely alive, dude.
But they might raise up his fucking corpse to get pegged by the Democratic Party yet again. Like, it might happen. His like body might be like stood up there on like, they might like put a stick on his back and like wave him around. His arms are all flapping. And he's like, "We have to do something about inequality." Like, then some black woman will come up and like smack his corpse. I don't know.
Take the mic from his corpse.
Yeah.
I'm once again asking you to watch me get destroyed by my ideological allies.
Like, will there be? I don't see any like Bernie candidates rising up to fill the void. It might take like another 80 years for them to grow another one. I don't know. I think they've just lost. I think the Bernie bros are done. It's over for Bernie cells.
It's over for burn cells. It always has been. But I really want to push home the idea that, that this is like, oh, look at these Washington Post journalists canceling each other. This is feminism and cancel culture. I need you guys to understand, the listeners, and I know you guys already do, that they don't care about any of that crap at all. And they just shill it to use it as a weapon to like take down their ideological foes. And it's based. She's like destroying a wing cuck right now. Some dumb Bernie bro, like, oh, look at all this money they're funneling to like more centrist candidates. We need to attack, and we need to like expose this. This woman she's doing the brave work of shutting him down. And she's enduring death threats for it. But she doesn't care because she's a queen.
It's worth noting that the Republican Party does the exact same thing with their family values. Like, I don't know all of this story, but there was some like Republican who came out and was like, yeah, I like went to these like cocaine swinger parties with all these other Republican politicians. It's the same shit. It's the same.
I was there.
The Cawthorn stuff.
Yeah, it's the same weapon.
Yeah, yes. We've all been to those parties. Like, let us be certain here. Like, that does happen. And then he got ousted because he was gay, which I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not gay either, bud.
He was like butt bumping, and he was in a wheelchair too. Yeah, that's one thing we never covered that, which is kind of unfortunate. Because I have a question. Like, if you're in a wheelchair, like, and you're the bottom, like, does it do anything for you? Like,
yeah,
does he have
paraplegics can have, like, paralyzed people can have sex. Like,
I know they can, but should we allow it?
Bro,
just lurking in the hospital, like, hey, baby.
Well, I can tell you one thing. If I was going to be gay, I would not do it in a wheelchair.
Thank God for the people with fetishes for the hideously deformed, because otherwise they would have to live sexless lives. They're doing a service to society. Like they, by through their degenerate habits, are helping these people.
They are. Fetishization in general is a concept I don't really understand. And maybe it's because, like, I'm a fat white guy. So, like, if somebody has, like, a fat white guy fetish, I'm like, oh, yeah, that rules. That works for me. But, like, yeah, especially Asian women, they're the worst about it. Like, oh, you're just fetishizing my slanty eyes and my lack of boobs. Yeah, just appreciate that somebody wants you, you fucking. Nah, I'm not going to say that.
Oh
Yeah,
no!
just appreciate that someone wants you.
Oh no, I'm sexually appealing. You see this all the time, like hot women. Like, you guys don't understand. Nobody loves me for my vapid personality. My life is much harder because
Did you
I'm
just say
attractive.
vapid?
Yeah, I don't do this. Anyway,
Okay, I won't.
That's why I bring on Mason. He makes me look smart.
No, it's because I read so much. I read a word like a million times, and then I have no idea how to pronounce it in real life. It was interesting earlier when you said chud, because I was like, that is a word I've never heard spoken out loud. I could pronounce that one though, but anyway. But
You fucking chewed.
you chewed, chewed.
Das Chuden.
Shoot. Oh man.
So
Anyway.
yeah, that's what's going on over in the Washington Post.
Very unfortunate.
Once again, we stand our dead-eyed queen, Felicia Sonmez. She's based, grill pilled, and she's doing what she can. She's using every tool in the book to knock out the wing cucks,
Felicia Sodomaze. I'm sorry.
You guys got me to think about like that was the first time I'd thought about Bernie Sanders in like over a year. He really was the last empath Jew.
He's still, dude. I don't know. I heard Donald Trump is about to announce his run, and I feel like Bernie's gonna do it too. We're just gonna see all these same people do it over and again, just because of name recognition. So they're like literally, they're going to take these people. They're gonna make like wooden crosses, and they're gonna like nail them to them, and then they're gonna wave them around on the podium like a wappy flappy and inflatable tube man with like a fucking like speaker shoved down their throat.
They'll just like play lines that the candidate said before too. They're not even gonna say anything. It'll just be like a speaker with like Bernie's mouth hanging open with his eyes glazed over, and he'll be like, Donald Trump is a racist and a sexist and a misogynist. And then it'll be like Donald Trump would build the wall. They'll just be hanging there, mouths agape.
Only Rosie O'Donnell, and then they'll play the canned laughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll play the old laughter too.
the same exact fucking.
They'll build like robot versions of them, like mildewed with their flesh. They'll be like zombies, cyborgs of themselves, completely controlled by the party. Like no different, really.
This is a laughing matter. This is something that, we can talk about, laugh about, but something that's not funny to me, something that's not funny to any of us is the violence that us gorillas are facing in the world today, all right? The what's the word I'm looking for?
Sustained persecution.
Thank you, Micah. See, you're good for something. The sustained persecution that we take, our future's not looking bright, especially in the UK. According to mirror.co.uk, barbecues face being banned by Green Council over fears they cause global warming.
I'm so tired of fear-mongering about global warming attacking our culture. It's like I have an AC unit.
Yeah. Oh no, it's gonna go up 3 degrees.
My electric
that's like their
bill.
projection.
No.
What's so bad about that? Oh, everything's up 3 degrees.
I had to get an emissions test. You know how they do statewide emissions tests to, this is supposed to, protect the environment or whatever. And I failed it because I have a check engine light on for something that has nothing to do with the emissions.
Wow. You know what none of this ever comes back to? Somehow it just bounces off of their like blubbery selves. Is this entire environmental conversation never comes back to the fat people. Like I've heard that like cows fart and they destroy
Mhm.
like whatever. And I mean, I guess like as grilling, I don't know. I think there's a way to responsibly grill without being morbidly obese. Like I think a lot of these environmental problems that once again I'm not even that sure about because I have an AC unit. But if you really wanted to track it back to like our absurd consumerist culture, you could probably pin a lot of it on the obese, but nobody ever does. Nobody ever says you're fat, so you're killing the environment.
Yeah, because look, if somebody weighs 300 pounds, like they're putting out twice at least the CO2 via farting that, you know, a 150-pound man would.
It's not just that their cars are using more gas to transport them around, you know?
They're eating more food, so they need
It-
more shipped to them.
I guess it's really I think the point that Mason maybe was trying to hit at before is that like whenever they are like targeting something, it's always something that's gonna do fuck all to actually solve the problem. And like you can see here, in the article it says that it's the Green Party that's doing this. It's the cringe party that's moving to ban barbecue.
Eat the bugs, eat the plants. You have to be a plant.
So yeah,
person.
literally, this has nothing to do with the environment. This has to do with them being, you know, vegetarian veggie cucks. Like,
Can't they like barbecue their fucking vegetables or something? I don't know, like some corn on the cob. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but no-
Their arms
nobody-
are too weak to lift a skewer. That's not going to happen.
but that's not who they're targeting. Obviously, they're targeting the meat eaters. They're targeting the grillos.
The carnivores.
Because look, this is sustained violence that we're taking. This idea that we're somehow like destroying the earth just by cooking our food, just by trying to, you know, grill and have a good time.
It's
Wait,
not just
how-
that. Okay,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, it's not just that either. There was recently got a ban on like small gas engines in California. Like what that means is like small generators, small chainsaws, like things like that. They announced it. It's going into effect in like 10 years or something. And it seems like every time they announce some kind of environmental concern, it specifically targets things that produce a healthy lifestyle. Like they're like, no, you won't do your own lawn care and like take care of your property. No, you won't grill food with your family. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. They're not like, we're going to ban China. We're going to stop getting stuff from China because, like, their factories are horrible. It's always like, oh, yeah, we're going to ban you from...
Living an enriching life.
Yeah, no more breathing. You're putting out too much carbon dioxide by breathing air out. Okay, you
have
can
to li-
inhale, but you can't exhale.
You have to live in the pod. You can't have a lawn that you take care of. You can't grill in your yard with friends. You have to live in the pod and eat the bugs.
Don't you care about the environment?
And so you go through this like article and there's people trying to argue with it and they say things like the sensible method would be to have designated areas for those that want a barbecue to have one.
First mistake.
And so you try and appease these people. Well, wait a minute. What if we compromised here? We have designated barbecue areas,
Yo.
but they're just going to keep going and take it.
Compromising is
What's up?
always a mistake.
Who is this wing cuck? Have you read this far? One of the people interviewed said, "Best news I've heard in years. Smoke and stench from barbecues spoil other people's peaceful enjoyment, and I hope they apply this ban to barbecues and gardens in residential areas as well."
Can
I
we
hate
kill this
the
person?
smell of barbecue. Like I've never
Can we
been
kill
like
this-
anytime anyone's been barbecuing, it's like, oh, I smell that incredible meat. That's so nice. That actually makes me like physically sick. Like I want to track down this person, and like I'm not making like an actionable threat here, but like
I'm making an actionable threat. If I can find this person's docs, I'll dox them. I will crowdfund for us grillers to go and just fucking kill this person.
I'm going to airdrop cook meat onto their home.
I
We
hate
need to put this person in the grill log.
I hate the smell of like nice sizzling meat on the barbecue. I hate it. I hate the sound
And
of
they're like-
laughter. I hate
The fact that they're calling for a ban in residential, you know what that means? They're saying you shouldn't be able to cook meat
in your
on your
backyard.
property. On your property. This person is radical centrist enemy number 1. We need to find out who this person is. My grill is. If you
And
are
kill them.
if you have any investigative capabilities whatsoever, we need your help finding out who this person is. Article in the description.
Article in the description. You
That
guys,
is-
let's get our top autists on this. We need to kill this person.
It's
And
subhuman.
we need to put their head on a pike as a warning that this shit's not gonna fly.
On a
We're not gonna
skewer.
take it. On a skewer, yeah. Oh, here's another resident. Happy to see beach barbecues being banned. Few things are more annoying when you have a nice spot on the beach and then people near you start a barbecue and the consequent irritating smoke and smell of food. Okay, British, the Brits aren't human. If you can cultivate a society in which you have not just one but two people that agree with this, these people are subhuman.
All of the good Brits left. All of the
Yeah,
good British
they
people
founded America.
left. Like there is nothing else left. They were left with like the genetic like dregs. That's why they have all fucked up teeth and they're all ugly, except
And
for
their
like
food sucks.
yeah, their food stocks. Literally thousands and thousands of years of development. They could also like source ingredients from the entire world, and they couldn't figure out how to make one good dish. Like not one. Okay.
You know, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe they have a point. Because, like, you know, people come there to grill and they're making British food and they're like, oh, that smells awful. This is disturbing to me. All of my senses are being assaulted. Oh, God.
Even so, we can't allow this rhetoric to.
Yeah, we can't allow this rhetoric to take hold. You have a good point, Micah. Solidarity with our grillers over in the UK. And with that, I think we're going to close out this episode. I want to thank everybody for listening. I'm going to miss you all when I'm up in Alaska. I'm going to be reading a lot of extremist political literature and,
As
you know,
he's
getting...
sharing space with other men on a boat, isolated during Pride Month.
There's so
okay,
much
don't
time.
do...
Yeah.
The whole, like, sailors are gay thing or, like, people on boats are gay. I feel like that has to be some sort of... Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. That has to be some sort of projection, right? Like, that has to be some...
It's not just a projection, it's a deliberate plan by these bureaucrats and office drones and retail workers to try and shame hardworking masculine men. They're like, no, bro, like going out and like doing manual labor, that's gay. Same with like, they're like, oh, having strong male friendships, that's gay. Like, it's this large scale plan.
Giving your
to, like,
homie a bro job, that's gay.
yeah, it's this large scale plan to like demonize masculinity and make masculinity itself homosexual.
It's okay, you guys. I know you're not gay. It's okay.
There's nothing wrong with
There's
gay
nothing wrong
people.
with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying it's a thing.
Really what it is too is like projection. Like, oh, if I was on a boat for a month and I couldn't, you know, fuck a girl, I guess I would go gay. So I'm going to assume everyone else would. It's kind of a cell phone.
Yeah,
No
is.
you.
No you. No you.
Well, anyway, I want to thank my gorillas for being patient for this episode. I'll be back in August. Micah's going to take the helm. Micah the man, taking the helm. King Grilla over here. So, you know, give him some support,
Exciting
guys.
stuff
give
coming.
Him some love.
Plus,
Exciting stuff coming.
Don't you have an episode or two ready to go anyway? You got some filler, right? Already? Maybe not.
I have a little bit of filler.
Yeah, we got a filler episode. We got the Centrist Manifesto coming soon, and we'll have a special guest host during the summer.
Excellent.
Yeah. All right, guys. Peace out.
Yeah, I'm old as a boomer. My mindset on Zoomer. Everything cooler, long as I'm not Laura Loomer. If you think I'm not number one, I done spelled that rumor. Hit the victory royale on some motherfucking coochie. Default dance on a bitch. Hit the default dance on a bitch. Floss dance while I'm flossing in the whip. Victory royale when that chopper hit. Self-incrimination, I have no participation. News keep asking, I don't say shit. You can't have my conversation.